Okay,
Okay.
so I want a toothbrush that has like a built-in toothpaste inside it. So like all you need to do is just to click the toothpaste, and like it'll like automatically goes to the brush, and like yeah, I think that's it. Back to you, Kariski.
Yeah, that's very time efficient. Yeah. Okay. Who want to be the next? I see Kevin is have big idea. Yeah. Please, Kevin.
Slow. No, no, no. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I want a toothbrush, like a toilet brush. So it's not only one side, but it's all side. It's 360 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. Okay, Kak Peter, you can go.
I guess I want a toothbrush with a timer and alarm, so when it is for kids, so they don't forget to brush their teeth.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, it's not only for kids. Yeah, I also sometimes.
Yeah, we usually forget to brush our teeth. Next, who want to be the next? Kavidi, do you have any idea?
Uh, I will go second last so that you
Okay.
guys can take the idea first.
Oh, Kavidi have many ideas, yeah. Okay. Kak David, how about you?
Okay, I just think that toothbrush that can move by itself, so it can reach the hard part, and in the end can display the score how clean our teeth.
Oh, that's great, Kak David. How about Kak Lilis? Kak Lilis, have an idea about this toothbrush?
It's really interesting. I think toothbrush that the brush itself can be replaceable. Like I can change it anytime I want.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes the stick is still good, but the brush is already bad. How
Yeah,
about you,
yeah.
Kak Vidi?
Okay. For me, I think the toothbrush can evaluate the health of the mouth.
Oh yeah, great idea ya, using data science.
Yes.
Great, great. Yeah, okay. So next week let's build a toothbrush startup, yeah, with all the kind of technology. Yeah. Okay, let's move to our discussion. Evelyn, can you share your screen maybe for the meeting discussion? The discussion notes, yeah.
Yes, wait, yeah. Let me.
Okay.
I forget
Uh,
how to share my screen.
there are 5 buttons below:
Oh,
cam, mics, share, chat, and leave. Yeah,
I
you
think this
push
is the
the
one.
share. Yep, good job, Evelyn. Okay, now we have 3 topics of discussion. Actually, we have 4. First is from Kevin, that he asked about some basic information for projection revenue. Is this problem has answered yet, or you still need an answer from this question, Kevin?
Sorry, Rizky. What did you say? Your voice is too small.
For your discussion, the first discussion about we need some basic information for projection revenue. We can create a Google form, blah 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 blah. Is it already answered? The number 4, Evelyn, row number 4.
Oh,
Wait,
oh yes.
wait, yeah. My my laptop is a bit laggy.
Yeah,
Let me just
that's okay.
refresh.
Oh yeah,
Okay, for that board, yeah, I don't think I have access yet for that board, so I think I cannot see it yet. But perhaps for the next card, uh, like in BI request, we should inform to the marketing team that uh, they should uh, put the basic information first. I think that can be the first solution. Uh,
uh,
is it possible, Kalilis and Kak Vidi?
the question, Kevin, you asked us that you need
Mm,
some basic information and you propose to create a Google form. Is it
Yes.
already answered, or since KVD is already answered here, or you need more discussion on this?
Yes, that board because I don't have the access for that board.
Okay, for this board, yeah, properties, amenities here, or what board?
KVD has been provided.
Okay, KVD.
Yep, I've provided an alternative in Redash. So if you open Redash now, Kevin, there is a dashboard for HER called Property Details List. It's basically the data containing how many bedrooms and also the Google Maps location. So I've used that because currently the friction is that if the partner is not onboarded yet, the details cannot be seen through Bigger. So as a scaffold, I provided the data in Redash as well. I will provide the link and also the screenshot in the discussion.
Okay, thank you, KVD. Actually, this problem is the same as my project phase. When we search for property location
Wait, yeah,
and
gangs.
property amenities, yeah, it is hard. Then we should search it one by one, maybe from Airbnb, from other platform. Then we put it on the Google Colab things. Yeah, and yeah, the resolution is same with KVD propose that we create a query on Redash, so that yeah you can just select the name of the property and see the details. Okay, is that answered your question, Kevin?
Yes, Karki, thank you.
Okay, so let's move to our next discussion.
Rizky, I think Angie want to say something.
Yes,
Oh, okay,
I
sorry.
think the session is not recorded yet, Mr. Recorder.
It is recorded, I think.
Not
Oh, it
yet,
is
Lay, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Wait, it's recorded in my part.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yes, I can see the recorder ya.
Yes.
KVD.
Oh, I can't see. Jadi ya udah nggak apa-apa.
Nggak ada yang merah-merah itu loh.
Yeah, I will screenshot and then I will put in discussion.
No. Okay. That's all.
Try to make all of the team share KVD. Okay. Let's move to our next discussion. It is from Mr. Jing. It is about our direct bookings are getting a greater percentage of our income. Since Mr. Jing is not here, maybe I will give a little bit of context here. On our last month, the percentage of our income that came from Airbnb is decreasing. It will affect our performance in Airbnb, such as maybe our listing is not displayed in the first page, or yeah, maybe Kalilis and KVD could give a detail later. And Mr. Jing want to know what is the implication and is it normal or not. The first question, oh yeah guys, I propose a new structure of discussion. So I tried to write the sub question and then we try to answer that sub question. Yeah, so it is more directed into our purpose. The first question is, what is the direct implication if we have fewer transactions on Airbnb? Maybe Kalilis and KVD have wider experience in this. Can you explain?
Okay, I'll try first. What is the direct implication if we have fewer transactions on Airbnb? It's already happening. So the implication actually, first, we don't get review, of course, because there is no booking, like fewer booking on Airbnb. And second, if it is booked outside Airbnb, the occupancy is also low. So the awareness part, like how many views we get, will decreasing also. And yes, it's happening already. That's for the first question.
Okay, over to KVD. Do you have any different opinion from Kalilis?
No, generally it's true. Because Airbnb works like a positive reinforcement. If there's a lot of reviews, Airbnb will promote us even more. And if the review that is seen in the page is recent, people will tend to book at the property. Basically, if we have less booking on Airbnb, it means that the feedback on the top of the funnel activity will also decrease. The thing is, Airbnb is an asset, right? If we do direct bookings, what is the asset that we can obtain? Sometimes we can post review like in Facebook. In Facebook case, we can post the review in the Facebook profile. But if I understand correctly, the conversion rate is and also the methodology of of review in Facebook is far less inferior than Airbnb or like Booking.com because they have notification to leave review for something like that. So it's more on the long term assets. If we want to think about long term, usually we will stick with OTAs. But if we have other alternatives, maybe we can maybe implement it in our website, for example. But that's the gist of it, why it's concerning.
Okay, thanks Kak Pidi. Peter, you can go.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing that I quite think about. If we have more better percentage of income other than the Airbnb, and in this industry, actually, the most important intangible asset is actually the review. So we need to somehow to keep the review to be collected and to be shown to our future our future consumer. And I guess we need to think about if it keep going on like outside Airbnb is bigger than than Airbnb. Perhaps we need a way to show these reviews on our websites and collect it collect them in our websites according to the assets that we have.
Okay, thank you, Peter. And the answer for this question is yes, it is impacting our booking. Small percentage on Airbnb income means that we are get less booking from Airbnb. And yes, it is already happening. The other point is Airbnb is an asset, a long-term asset, so we will have to maintain it. The next question is it because of us that makes the percentage of Airbnb income is lower? Do we try to persuade the guests to have transaction outside Airbnb? Again, I will offer this to Kalilis and Kak Vidi since they have wider experience on this, and I will offer the third question to everyone later. So maybe Kalilis.
Okay. So why in direct booking is happening, or booking outside Airbnb or other OTA is happening? The history is basically when first COVID-19 is arise in Bali, we faced the low booking in Airbnb, and we detect that people that is terperangkap in Bali, that they cannot go back in that time, they actually try to find a cheap villa in Facebook, for example, and they also know that the Airbnb is actually charge fee for guests, like the tax gitu. Waktu itu belum ada Airbnb-nya, belum dipindah ke host. Tapi in that time there is a tax, and then they try to find that group like in Facebook, and also we know that group, so we don't want to we don't want to skip the chance to get that booking, because we need occupancy wherever it is coming from. In that time, we also consider that in the near future we will face like the low performance of the OTA itself, karena memang the occupancy is not open. The availability is not open in Airbnb, so there will be no booking, there will be no inquiry. So the story is basically that. And then another story is currently they know actually we charge higher price because of the host fee by Airbnb, which is 15%. And perhaps they want to like, can I book directly with you, and then we will give them contact. The third mechanism is actually when the guest offers some kind of budget and it's basically fit our budget in direct booking, then we will try to bring it to direct, like through Instagram, something like that. Perhaps VD can clarify my explanation.
Okay,
That's
so this is my visibility as the interim HR CL, right? So yes, we do persuade guests who uh, wants a lower price, and if it fits the COVID price, then we will try to direct them to our Instagram to be converted to direct booking. That's why we see a lot of percentage actually of conversion, and also booking earned in Airbnb is actually mostly on direct. Um, and then aside from that, actually guests also have the initiative to ask for direct booking, and that's where we also come in. So inquiries that happens on Airbnb are converted to direct in two ways: through our persuasion if the price fits with the COVID price, or the guest asks for like options of direct booking.
Okay, thank you, Kak Vidi. Is there any mechanism that Airbnb gives to prevent
Yes,
the customer get lost? Yeah, so there are mechanisms to prevent that from
yes,
Airbnb.
that is true. So there are several mechanisms such as the blocking or the censoring of phone numbers, emails, other websites, and also like basically contact information. And a lot of time, guests actually can bypass it by maybe turning numbers into words and then capitalizing it, or like randomly, so that the system cannot detect that it's a contact number. Other ways that we are doing is actually just to put like at Bukit Vista, and hoping that the guests can actually uh, go to our Instagram account and then contact them from there, and we know that they're coming from Airbnb because they told us basically.
Okay, if I want to conclude, can I say this? Yes, we have a practice to persuade guests to have a transaction outside Airbnb, and we mengakali the
Yes.
system. So the question to everyone: should we stop it? Should we stop our practice like this? Yeah. Anyone want to talk? 1 minute, guys, for thinking.
Okay.
Oh yeah, silakan.
In a survive sense, I don't think it's wise to do that. But in a thrive sense, yes. However, look at this like this. For example, why the HR team does not deliberately move people from Airbnb to outside to direct booking. But if the budget of the guest actually fulfills the like you cut 15% off, and then the budget of the guest actually fits there, then we can go to direct booking. So that's what's happening right now. So I think looking at our revenue right now, it's not wise to do that.
Okay, thank you for your opinion, Kak Vidi. Anyone?
me.
Yes, Kak Lilis.
I think it's actually related to the next question. Do we really know the traffic in Airbnb? Like, is there any like high traffic of booking? I mean higher than the like the May, right? The worst condition we ever faced. Like, why my question is like that? If the traffic is actually better right now compared to that time, if we try to build again our TAs gitu, perhaps we can recover like time by time, but don't directly stop, tapi kayak mengurangi sedikit demi sedikit.
Okay, so you are in between ya Kak, between stop fully and yeah, go on.
Yeah, but like as Vidi said, we still in survive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We don't really know when to stop this because kalau nggak ada cash flow juga we can't run the company, right?
Yes.
That's Vidi.
Kak Vidi.
Yes, there is one option actually. So this is what the usual pricing strategy is either way, right? So what is the difference between a property that I want to book next month and tomorrow? What does it have to do with the price? Tomorrow and next month, or even next year? What's the difference? This is to everybody.
Perhaps the price for next
Yes.
month is higher, right?
Yes, the price for next month is higher. Why is it higher? Maybe who handles operational pricing?
Risky.
Rizky. Nah, why? Why do you think the price for next month and next year is higher than tomorrow or today?
Maybe we try to get more instant booking. Like we know, instant booking in our company is very high number. Might be.
Not
No?
really. Not quite what I'm looking for. Yeah. Who else? This is
Uncertainty.
uncertainty. Like what?
Like we don't really know whether we want to recover or not, so we try to apa to try to grab the opportunity of making revenue by higher price.
Yes, that is one. But there is actually a more fundamental reason, Lilis. Even we do this even before COVID. Then the price for next month is higher than today or tomorrow.
Kak Vidi,
Yes.
is it because the basic principle of $1 today is not the same as $1 tomorrow?
Oh no, that it's not related to ini ya uh, fluktuasi ini apa namanya? Yang harganya lama-lama kan depresiasi mata uang enggak?
Okay.
Inflasi. It's not related to inflation.
Yeah, Peter, go on.
Yes.
Sorry.
Ya, siapa ya? Let me try. Maybe because of economic projection, the trend of ini ya, the trend of tourism.
Oh yeah. That's not entirely wrong. Like inflation, the trend of economic tourism is not entirely wrong. But there is a more fundamental reason why the price for property that I set the rate for today or tomorrow is lower than next month. There is a more
I know.
Liz.
Value of time.
Yes, correct. So because from today until next month, we still have 30 days to sell the property. But then for today or tomorrow, we only have 0 or 1 day to sell the property. And then if we do not sell the property, it is lost. The occupancy cannot be retrieved anymore, unlike selling goods, right? Just like why does Indomaret sells bread that is almost expired at a cheaper price? See, but that's constantly happening with us because every day time does not stop. So my proposition is that it's also possible to not offer or offer direct booking to property with check-in date more than a month, let's say. But then if it's within a week or so, let's try to direct them to that. That's also one possible way to reduce, but also still maintain possible revenue. I'm not sure whether it's a week or 2 weeks, but we have to look at the booking window either way. But that's one proposition.
Okay, interesting ya. That idea, the proposal from Kak Lilis and Kak Vidi is not fully stop, not fully continue, but yeah, it's like in between. But how do you think, guys? Do you have any other opinion? Should we stop it? Should we continue it? Should I point someone? Oh yeah, Peter, go on.
I want to know first, actually, when people is actually booking from direct booking, are they booking, most of them booking for the long term or for the short term? Most of them. I mean, the check-in time-nya in the matter of weeks or in the matter of months. I mean, if it is in the matter of most of them is actually in the matter of weeks, so that proposition perhaps doesn't answer Jing's questions, ya kan? Tapi kalau emang, but if actually if most of the direct booking is actually more than 1 month, then it could be check-in date-nya itu more than 1 month, it could help answer the Jing's question. So we will make people book from the Airbnb, I guess. I guess that's the fundamental question that need to be answered.
Okay, anyone? Kavidi seems to have an idea. Do you have an
Yep.
answer for that?
Ya, sebenarnya bagus juga sih, maksudnya kayak kalau kita mau cek ya, memang kita butuh sebenarnya visualisasi tentang booking window. Booking window itu biasanya orang bookingnya itu kapan, untuk check-in-nya kapan. Itu sangat berguna. Nanti kita bisa bagi lagi source-nya. Seperti yang tadi Peter bilang, ternyata kalau dari direct booking, seberapa persen sih yang booking itu dalam rentang waktu 1 minggu, seberapa persen yang rentang waktu 1 bulan. Kalau dari raw estimation gue sih, memang banyak banget yang kayak hari ini atau besok. Tapi juga nggak menutup kemungkinan banyak juga yang long term biasanya. Seperti bulan Oktober tahun ini udah ada yang booking direct di Maharaja kalau nggak salah yang 3 bulan itu. Jadi kayak
itu really long term, like the
Yeah.
value is big.
Jadi kayak memang kita harus bikin booking window distribution-nya sih, kalau gue bilang. Nanti
Okay,
mungkin bisa
so,
diintegrasi
you can-
sebenarnya. Dari booking window itu, kita bisa tahu kita mau berapa persen yang kita cut ke direct, let's say. Dan kita cuma pengen cari yang Airbnb ke direct, dan kita punya datanya itu, dari Airbnb ke direct.
Okay, thanks, Kavidi. So, Evelyn, you can put on the conclusion. One of the conclusion is to assign the S to make booking window visualization. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the question. Do we need to stop this practice? Anyone who haven't speak? Angie, David, Kevin, Evelyn? No? No objection? Okay. For now, we agree that we will memposisikan diri kita in between ya, like Kavidi and Kalius propose. Okay, the next question is how to prevent such event repeated again in the future. So how to attract the guests so that the guests will like Airbnb more than direct booking. Yeah, it's not about the Airbnb fee only, but anything. What do you think that Airbnb is more advantageous so that we can exploit it? Anyone? Peter, go on.
I think I need to it's more a question first, yeah. We need to understand, we need to discuss first what is actually the advantage of using Airbnb dibandingkan if we use direct booking. Perhaps when we brainstorming on that, we will more focus on the strength of the Airbnb to propose.
Yep, fully agree with Peter. From my side, I believe that Airbnb is easier to use, and the payment method is, I don't know what it takes in Airbnb. Credit card, is that right, Kalilis? Yeah.
Yes.
And credit card might be easier for outsider, ya, maksudnya orang dari luar. That's from me. Any other opinion? What is the Airbnb strength? Yes, Peter, go on.
Actually, I also advertise my properties through Airbnb too, and most of them actually the strength is the trust, because when they pay they don't really directly go to Bukit Vista, right? They'll keep it until it's safe. So that's one thing that need to be considered.
Yeah, interesting. Angie, go on.
I think one of the most main things is that Airbnb is like widely known, yeah, all over the world. Like everybody, yeah, like who doesn't know Airbnb? I think that is also a strength.
Brand, yeah.
Yeah, brand name.
Yep.
But I don't know Airbnb before I went to Bukit Vista.
I never use Airbnb.
I used once. Okay. Your name.
Okay, Kevin, go on.
Is it a good idea that if we in like say in Facebook marketing that we said that hey in Airbnb this starts we get this is the rate we get, so if you want cheaper you can get you must you must book longer, it's like I said, let's say in one let's say in a month, and then you can directly booking. If it's less than a month, then you cannot directly booking.
Okay, Kevin. So from your story, what is the advantage of Airbnb compared to other?
Yes, it's just like branding, like Angie and Kafidi and Khalil said. So I think you can use
Okay.
that. Like,
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Is there any opinion about the advantage of Airbnb? Okay, David, go on.
Oke, nggak soal ini sih, Rizky. I'm just thinking what Kak Lily said, what we do in the during COVID. Yeah, we just discussed about Airbnb and direct. But in other side, I think that this efek ini akan berdampak juga mungkin ke Booking.com dan OTA yang lain, atau karena kita belum aware atau bagaimana gitu. Mungkin we can improve other OTA too, and what our discussion today, our strategy, it can implement in other OTA also, because it's long-term effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. Thank you, David. So, Evelyn, you can put it on the conclusion too. Beware of the same effect in other OTA. Yep. And I want to add something too. I think Airbnb is like a verificator. Like if we put the reviews on our website, we can palsukan itu kan. But if it is on Airbnb, yeah, it is true reviews. It is the true guests. There are guests that mengunjungi properti kita, not rated by ourselves. Yeah, it is trustable. Yeah, Kevin.
I think it's not only brand, but it's also the security of the payment. Like, so it's more it's more trustable, like Angie said.
Okay, so that's for the second discussion. Yeah. The recent conclusion is, the first is we outsmart the Airbnb system in converting Airbnb to direct, despite Airbnb blocking system number. Yeah, and we do not have to stop it for now, since we are on surviving mode too. Then the next conclusion is to assign data scientists to create a visualization about booking window. And then the next conclusion is beware of the same effect on other OTA. It might be happening on other OTA, but we are not aware now. And then to prevent such event repeated again in the future, we can exploit the strength of Airbnb mentioned here. Yep, that's for the second discussion. Let's move to the third discussion. It is also came from Mr. Jing. Since Mr. Jing is not here, I will read it out. Should LinkedIn be considered as an asset to help us find guests? Shafri, Ferdi, and Pram all became aware of BV through LinkedIn. All three approached us to find a holiday property in Bali, and Pram booked a villa with us. That's the first context here. The first question I want to give to everyone is, guys, how do you use LinkedIn? What do you use it to? Everyone can answer it. Maybe you use it for finding job or finding nice article, or how?
I use LinkedIn to connect with people, I would say, but that's all. But like, I don't know why. In a recent month, like there's tons of people who's like texting and then like offering job, like they create like some kind of promotion to join their company or become a sales. Well, that's all. Like that's my experience with LinkedIn.
Evelyn, when you connect to people, what did you get? So, what is the purpose of you connecting to other people?
Mainly nothing. I felt like LinkedIn are like Facebook, but for adults.
Yeah, more professional.
Yeah.
Okay, that's from Evelyn. Any other opinion?
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin.
From my side, I used to be using LinkedIn to find information such as competition and other chance, like scholarship or anything else.
Okay, that's from Kevin. Any other experience? Yeah, Peter, go on.
I guess we could brainstorm more about LinkedIn, not just what people do in LinkedIn, but what is the purpose of people using LinkedIn. I guess it's not just person. LinkedIn is more about company. So I guess can we brainstorm more about the opportunity of B2B through LinkedIn? What do you think about that?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So not only for B2C, brand to business to consumer, but it also can be B2B. Oh yeah, that is interesting. I will note it. For now, any other opinion for how you use LinkedIn? No. Okay.
Me, to be honest, I don't use so much in LinkedIn. Like, if you're targeting me, I'll done nothing. Outside liking Bukit Vista post. I mean, I think from my side, LinkedIn is not a good way to target people. But
Okay.
it's actually proven like. But for Shafri, it's actually from professional networking, right, Vidi? And then from Ferdi, I don't know. How about Pram?
From also from all of them are from professional networking. Basically, so they do not like directly approach us through awareness,
For
as well,
LinkedIn, yeah.
but when we do professional networking, they become aware of our activity.
Yes. So it's not LinkedIn, but it's professional networking session that make them aware, not LinkedIn.
Okay. Kalilis, can you give a bit of context what is professional networking here?
Okay, so a long time ago, Aldo started initiative for professional networking. It is an activity where we can reach expert for any kind of topics that we want to know more, like digital marketing or as community expert or anything else like the HR. We try to contact as many people as we can, and then we get response, and then we schedule a meeting with them. We prepare questions and we ask their guidance basically. One of them is Shafri, which is data scientist, Vidya from Gojek. And we connect, like we talk each other, and until arrive at the questions, like at the moment where Shafri said Shafri wants to go to Bali, and then perhaps I can book your villa in one time in the future if I want to stay in Bali, something like that. So that's the context why Jing said that we can find people who wants to book villa in LinkedIn, but it's actually need a long process. Like for this example, like for Shafri, Ferdi, and Sopram, because we do professional networking, we have engagement. We know them already. Gitu. That's the context.
Okay. It is already answered the second question, yeah. So Shafri, Ferdi, and Pram do not intend to search villas in LinkedIn. Yeah, that's obviously right. Then move to Peter ideas. We should exploit B2B opportunity in LinkedIn. How is your idea, Peter?
Asking me or asking to the floor? Sorry.
To you, Peter.
Yeah. I guess when people goes through the Airbnb, they are associated with their company, right? So we'll just find which company actually needs training, need long-term apa tuh namanya agreement on using our assets. We just need to find their HR or their apa ya biasanya whichever department that actually need, and we just give not all of people in Bukit Vista need to do that, but the people who represent Bukit Vista, maybe the product development, maybe the marketing. So it is more B2B. What do you think about it? I mean, this is quite related to LinkedIn, yeah. So we are not talking about people to people, but people as a representation of their company. And if there is need, we can give them proposal. I guess that will be quite interesting to explore.
Okay, Peter. Next question is, do you think that we only search it from LinkedIn, or we can search for other platform too?
Yeah, the context is LinkedIn, yeah. The context because the question is LinkedIn. But if it proven works, we can expand it to other platform, right?
Okay, noted. So before membahas lebih dalam Peter's idea, let's write the conclusion. Evelyn, the first conclusion is Shafri, Ferdi, and Pram is a special case here. So we should not promote our villa directly into LinkedIn. But yes, let's exploit Peter's idea. What do you think, guys, about searching B2B opportunities? It is absolutely bring a lot of money, yeah, since they are big groups and long term, minimum 1 week.
I have question, Mr.
Yeah.
Your B2B means partnership with any kind of business outside there. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Peter,
but we also need to understand first the industry that actually need us from
I
previous
know.
time.
I mean, when we know the industry, then you will do partnership. And what kind of partnership? Can you give example? Like, I want to know more about your idea.
Actually, that can have the partnership on the size ini ya, size marketing ya. Maksudnya, we can offer like in the next 12 months gitu ya, in the agreement is in the scale of 12 months, we can accommodate your inquiries on these assets for like maybe we do training in Bali every weekend, for example ya. So every weekend 2 times 4, 8 times 12, yeah, 8 times 12 ini with a discounted price than the usual one. So we have cash flow. The revenue stream, the cycle of cash flow will be bigger. That's just one of the idea, but we can explore more options on business modelnya ya. Cuman, but it is a big chance when we talk B2B, we will have saved a lot of time. Just like in 1 year, Pertamina did a lot actually in Bali. If we can approach B2B with them, wow.
Okay. Yeah, I'll offer to Mr.
Is your
Chen.
question answered, Kalilis?
I think. Okay. Yeah, I have the idea. I mean, yeah. Let's say it. Yes.
Okay, so to everyone to have a same concept in our head, Peter is proposing B2B business model. So we're not renting our villa directly to person, but we rent our villa to a company. So, for example, hey, I have a villa in Canggu. I can rent you for 1 month. It is one possible way. The other possible way is you can use it every weekend for 12 months. Yeah, something like that. And it is surely bring a big amount of money since the number of people is big and it is routine. Yeah. Any other comments on that idea? Yeah, Kevin, go on.
Yes, but of course we should offer a discount for that. So it make the difference between one people and a company.
Okay. Evelyn, you can note that. So we have to make a interesting offer between a person and company. Yeah. Any other proposal or comments? Objection? No? Okay. So that's it for the discussion. The third discussion. The first conclusion is, yes, we concluded that Shafri, Ferdi, and Pram is an exception. We will not do a campaign in LinkedIn, but LinkedIn might be used in B2B business model opportunities. That's for current conclusion. Okay, so maybe we will offer by 10 minutes. Yeah, this is the last discussion maybe. This is for Mr. Jing that sent an article on our Slack channel. Yeah, it is about, again, work from Bali campaign, and many medias are reporting it now.
Mr. Chen.
And yeah.
Sorry, I cut you there. Can you use Bahasa Indonesia to do discussion in a halfway of this? Pakai Bahasa Indonesia aja.
Oke. Oke. Ini dari Mr. Jin. Beliau minta kita untuk mendiskusikan ini campaign work from Bali, dan kita kan sudah banyak sekali ya mendiskusikan ini, tapi kalau menurut aku dari sekarang kita belum punya satu actionable gitu. Kalau menurut teman-teman sekalian, dari range 1 sampai 5, 1 itu yang paling diprioritaskan, campaign tentang ini itu ada di angka berapa? Dan jelaskan, Evelyn.
Menurut aku di angka 3,5 deh, 3,5 or 4. Because the main target market is itu kan people yang work remotely or kalau aku cari di internet mereka goes by digital nomad. Jadi menurut aku the percentage of this foreigner yang tinggal di Bali dan kerja secara ya itu tadi nomaden, terus kayak ya digital nomad or like working remotely, I think it is quite high. And like yeah, if only we could know how to target them properly, how we could expand our market or create our market di situ, then I think kita bakal dapat well, we will create a significant revenue. Because the first thing that I was thinking, right, they will stay in Bali long term. Like at the very least, they will stay for like 3 months, even more, maybe 1 year. And like if only we could target these people, ya, begitulah.
Oke, tadi kan prioritasnya 1 sampai 5, tapi kamu kasih 3,5. 1 itu yang paling prioritas. Berarti ini bukan prioritas.
Aku kira 5 paling prioritas.
Oh.
Oke,
dan
1
paling prioritas jadi berapa?
2,5.
Oke, 2,5 dari Evelyn. Dari yang lain?
Yes.
Bentar, mau nanya.
Ya, Kak Vidi.
Kan 3,5 nih. Kalau kurang 3,5 bukannya harus setengah ya? Atau gimana?
Iya, 1,5 kalau konversi.
Kalau setengah itu berarti halfway dong.
Enggak dong. Kalau 3,5 kan 1, 2, 3,5. 3 tuh habis itu kan masih ada 4, 5. Berarti kalau di-convert 2,5.
Oke. Sure. Kita bayangin ya.
Tapi kan ya oke lah 2,5.
Oke lah ya.
Oke, yang lain?
Oke. Gue boleh.
Yang lain?
Ini
Boleh.
benar sih. Karena ini udah pembicaraan kayak banyak kali banget kita ngomong, dan kita memang udah mencobakan mengaplikasikan di listing Airbnb kita, di promotion kita punya campaign Instagram dengan mempromosikan remote working and so on so forth. Tapi ya tetap aja masih kayak ada beberapa friction sebenarnya pada dasarnya. Frictionnya itu contohnya memang dari kayak di Jogja itu lebih ketat. Maksudnya kalau misalnya orangnya orang luar dia lebih susah. Kalau misalnya orang Jakarta nggak masalah. Makanya kemarin kan sempat memang ada target orang-orang Jakarta, kita ke grup-grup orang Jakarta juga bisa. Dan kalau kita lihat pun demografi dari Airbnb kita juga banyak orang Indonesia sekarang. Udah mulai banyak orang Indonesia pakai Airbnb dibanding kemarin-kemarin yang dulu nggak pakai Airbnb. Memang betul bisa kita contoh kayak dulu kita sempat buat orang-orang Rusia, kita punya memang akses ke grup-grup mereka pakai sosial media namanya VK. Nah kita masuk sana buat nge-promote properti kita. Tapi itu juga sangat, dulu pas kita coba lagi itu kayak efeknya nggak terlalu gede gitu sih, makanya kita stop. Nah kembali lagi maksudnya kesini cara dapat digital nomads-nya pun itu gimana ya, maksudnya kayak kalau misalnya kita cari orang Indonesia pun mereka kayak biasanya kayak udah ada koneksi yang nge-bypass commission dan lain-lain gitu sih biasanya. Tapi nggak tahu, menurut gue kalau misalnya dari sini kita memang prioritaskan maksudnya kita emang ngelakuin prioritas ini dari banyak hal yang kita lakuin.
Mungkin nambahin yang Vidi, ini bisa dikonek ke idenya Peter tadi yang
B2B, ya.
Kita dulu pernah ada artikel, I don't know apakah udah kalian baca apa belum ya, tentang yang Twitter itu kan work from anywhere kan.
Ya.
Jadi kita tuh sebenarnya dulu pernah disuruh nargetin gimana caranya yang Twitter sama Spotify kalau nggak salah. Itu kan kayak big company kan. Dia pasti punya banyak banget ini. Kita kalau misalnya bisa publish kerja sama gitu sama mereka, itu bisa lebih guided gitu. Daripada kita masang misalnya ads buat nargetin orang yang apa gitu kan, kita nggak tahu maksudnya dia dari mana aja, kita nggak tahu, kecuali yang paling shortcutnya itu adalah B2B tadi gitu, which is yang susah adalah how-nya gitu. B2B-nya memang kepikiran sih, dan kita juga udah pernah jalin relasi sama student exchange ya Bre ya namanya ya?
Ya, Asia Exchange kalau nggak salah.
Oh Asia Exchange.
Makanya baru jebol 1 sih maksudnya.
Baru jebol 1 itu yang kemarin di NH Residence ya.
NH
Maharaja, sorry ya.
Maharaja.
Sebulan itu 35 juta selama 3 bulan. Baru tembus 1 tuh. Tapi itu yang nggak di-maintain banget relationship-nya memang. Itu kenapa dia kepilih, karena ada program summer school gitu ya kalau nggak salah ya.
Karena kan juga kemarin tuh sempat kalau misalnya dia online ya bisa aja orang ke Bali sih, cuman maksudnya banyak frictionnya juga kalau misalnya lu anak-anak maksudnya kayak sekarang aja exchange itu ada program yang remote juga maksudnya. Tapi possible sih yang pakai caranya Peter itu loh, gue setuju.
Ya, cuma itu di how-nya itu yang harus di-explore sekarang gitu. The idea is there, tapi kita belum kayak, mungkin Peter sebelumnya pernah ada pengalaman gitu gimana caranya reach B2B partnership, kita di-explore di situ.
Di
Sebentar ya Kak.
Oh ya, siapa?
Nih. Jadi kita simpulin dulu, berarti kita setuju ya kalau ini diprioritaskan. Ini untuk jawab yang poin pertama. Terus tadi ada satu opportunity untuk find those digital nomads-nya by B2B opportunities yang udah Kak Iris bilang. Nah, terus sekarang Kak Peter mau nambahin apa? Silakan.
Masalah terbesar B2B adalah menemukan channel yang tepat untuk ke sana. Itu sebenarnya. Jadi, kalau kita bicara soal LinkedIn, kita pertama yang bisa kita lakukan melalui itu tuh yang LinkedIn ada yang sponsornya kan ya? Apa namanya? Advertisement-nya kan ya?
Ada, kita sering pakai buat job ads.
Jadi kita bisa coba untuk ya si delegates kita ini untuk sebagai agen B2B kita melalui ads di LinkedIn yang targetingnya adalah industri kayak tadi nomad yang sifatnya nomad, industri yang sifatnya remote, yang kerjanya remote dan lain-lain itu, dan yang sudah proven ya student. Dan itu yang pertama. Yang kedua adalah kalau di SBM sendiri kita juga punya representasi di LinkedIn. Jadi kalau misalnya kan mahasiswa kita itu kan sebenarnya ya bakalan ujung-ujungnya jadi pebisnis juga kan. Dan itu biasanya kita bisa relate ke B2B itu dengan mengirimkan proposal melalui channel-channel yang ada. Kalau SBM itu lewat email, tapi nggak menutup kemungkinan kalau kita bikin proposal terus kasih ke HR melalui LinkedIn karena LinkedIn adalah media profesional. Mungkin industri-industri yang kepikiran sekarang nih ya untuk propose-nya ya, itu student, terutama University in Bali. Karena University in Bali mungkin dia mau menyediakan dormitory atau menyediakan tempat tinggal untuk student exchange yang ada di mereka. The needs is there kan. Kita tinggal we don't talk. We don't work with student. We work with the university for their student exchange program gitu. Jadi yang bayar university-nya we propose melalui bagian administrasi dari universitasnya, misalnya UNUD gitu ya, Universitas Udayana. Itu student misalnya melalui university. Yang kedua, company yang sifatnya kerja di remote. Kita tinggal lihat nih di LinkedIn mungkin kita bisa tracing dari interview. Karena kan aku bukan orang Bali ya, mungkin kita bisa interview yang Bali. Sebenarnya di sekitar kita itu perusahaan mana yang banyak anggotanya tuh kerja remote di Bali gitu. Terus kita bisa studi juga dengan partner kita. Kalau misalnya perusahaan-perusahaan mana yang biasanya memakai memakai asetnya mereka untuk melakukan training di Bali. Nah itu kita tinggal cari representasinya di LinkedIn, kita kasih propose. Hopefully ya itu lebih targeted sih. Jadi fokusnya ke industrinya, baru habis itu company-nya. Kira-kira dari teman-teman gimana? Maksudnya ini kan ide masih raw banget ya, about implementation-nya, about business modelnya, about metodenya gitu. Ini masih raw banget kan maksudnya? Masih menjawab apakah ada opportunities there. Formatnya mungkin yang sudah jelas itu pasti proposal dan di approach secara profesional dengan representasi agen Bukit Vista yang emang dia khusus untuk situ, mungkin divisi marketing atau bagaimana gitu ya, proposal dan dengan menggunakan agen satu itu dan targeting to those companies that usually use datanya. Kalau kita bicara use data, source-nya kita bisa lihat sekeliling gitu, lihat di Bali. Yang kedua bisa tanya community kita. Dan yang ketiga, mungkin ads-nya yang targeted to those people.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Peter. Jadi untuk merangkum, tadi itu dipropose, kita langsung nge-send proposalnya ke mereka, entah itu melalui LinkedIn atau email, dan kita harus approach mereka professionally gitu ya, pakai maksudnya profesional itu ada proposalnya benar-benar untuk company gitu ya. Dan potensial marketnya mungkin university di Bali, jadi mereka ingin menyediakan asrama untuk student exchange mereka, jadi mereka yang bayarin, atau mungkin company yang work remotely. Tapi cara cari mereka itu dari kirim proposal. Itu tadi usulan dari Kak Peter. Kalau yang lain, ada usulan how to find them, how to target them.
Menarik sih. Cuman kalau dari gue sendiri lebih ke added benefits-nya apa gitu kalau misalnya mereka itu B2B. Itu yang lebih gue concern. kayak bisa atau enggaknya itu sangat visible. Cuman kayak added value-nya apa yang membuat B2B scheme ini desirable gitu.
Maksudnya itu apakah mereka benefits itu maksudnya di dua partnya apa di part mereka?
Di part merekanya. Karena kan kalau misalnya kita nyari ini kan gara-gara demand-nya kan. Demand dari
Paling kan karena discountannya.
discount
aja.
Number.
Diskon ya like member gitu kayak apa kartu pas gitulah.
Yeah.
If you are from this kamu dapat diskon like berapa persen gitu.
Ya.
Ya kayak misalnya kalau BI lah misalnya kan dia kerjasamanya sama ini nih Kempinski kan. Kalau perusahaan yang di bawah kelasnya di bawah kan bisa lah pakai kita gitu ya. Targetingnya nggak mungkin BI juga misalnya. BI itu maksudnya Bank Indonesia ya, Bank.
Bukan intelligence.
Ya.
Oke. Ya ini worth a try sih, cuman ya. BTW ada leadership list.
Oh, ya berapa ini? Astaga udah lewat 7 menit.
Ya. Kalian kalau mau lanjut discussion boleh, tapi
ya boleh lanjut dulu.